Welcome to Buckeye Scoop Live. What a night. Tuesday night, another commitment for the Ohio State Buckeyes. James Laurinaitis doing massive work, a guy that should be on the top 10 coaching staff, hitting the road, but as a grad assistant, he is pulling four-star commitments from the state of Texas, beats the Texas Longhorns, beats Notre Dame on Peyton Pierce, a fantastic player. We're going to break him down a little bit, go through his tape. We've got a bunch of other kids we're going to break down. A lot of booms coming. I think the defense is going to start to pick up a little bit after the offense has been killing it recruiting-wise. So we got a lot of guys coming in for the spring game weekend. About to be a big weekend for the Buckeyes. Super excited to break that down. As always, we're thankful for you guys. We're grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for your patronage. Thank you guys for showing up night after night. Continuing to grow this channel. Channel's been fantastic. If you can leave us a like right now, that'd be fantastic. Click that subscribe button. Click that bell so you get the alerts when we go live. I know a lot of you guys love tuning into these live shows and interacting with us, asking questions. You guys bring the incredible stuff that really makes the show what it is. So we appreciate you guys tuning in every single night. Thank you for your awesome questions. Thank you. Shout out where you're from in those comments right now. I want to hear where you guys are watching from. Again, I love that. A lot of people in Florida, a lot of people in Ohio, obviously, West Coast, all over around the world. So that is always fascinating to see where you guys are from. Appreciate you guys as always. Tell your friends. A lot of you guys are spreading the good word. I'm getting a lot of great comments about my friends told me to tune in. Really enjoy the show. So again, thank you guys for helping us out, grow the channel, and make it the special community that it is. It's a big part of BuckeyeScoop.com. That being said, it's time to bring in my good friend in Nevada, Buck Nevada. How are you?
Doing great, man. It's always nice when you get a little bit of information, you share a little bit of information, and then it comes to pass. It's a good day. You know, we've been doing these lucky guesses now for over 20 years, and 20 years and still guessing. So another lucky one on Peyton Pierce. Let's go. Very excited about it. And as you mentioned in the opener, yeah, James Laurinaitis doing work as a GA. I wouldn't expect that title type responsibilities to change anytime soon. I shouldn't say anytime soon, like in the next 90 days, 120 days, no, but in the next year, fully expect to see him on the staff. And Impact already felt this was a James L. pull and a huge get as far as I'm concerned, and couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, and James, they have big plans for him inside the staff. Again, he's already making $150,000 as a grad assistant. Most GAs make about $25,000 a year. So, I mean, it's a whole different ball of wax when you get a guy like James in there. The salaries, we have the highest salary pool in the entire country right now. Some guys, I don't think, frankly, are worth their salaries. They're probably not even worth 1/5 their salaries. But James Laurinaitis is worth about 10 times what we're paying him right now. He should be in that $1.5 million range quick as a coordinator. Again, I just don't see a ceiling on his career. I think he's a guy that could end up being Ohio State's head coach down the road. As good of a player as he was, as good of a person as he is, I think he could be every bit as good as a coach. The work ethic is relentless, tireless. And again, I thought it was a complete joke that he had to go to Notre Dame for a year to prove himself when he's one of the, not only is he a great player, but he's just one of the greatest captains, one of the greatest teammates, one of my best friends, and just a guy that I've held in such high regard. And he's a guy that I don't know if many of my former teams could say anything negative about him, just because he was that high a character guy. And again, I love the guy. I'm so happy he's back in the fold, and I'm so happy he started to dominate on the recruiting scene. Because again, he should have been here last year. I fully believe we get Tackett Curtis. I believe we get Troy Bowles, those elite linebackers that were at one point Ohio State leans that we frankly couldn't close on, for whatever reason. I don't know, whose issue it was, but we didn't sign any linebackers last year, and that's a position that's always a position of need. You need stud linebackers to run this defensive system, especially when you're only playing two. But I think James is here to rectify that and really make that room into a Brian Hartline wide receiver-esque room on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's the trajectory that linebacker room is about to be on. With Peyton Pierce, Nevada, is about 6'2", 220, super athletic kid, plays all over the field. What do you like the most about Peyton Pierce? We're going to get into his film in a second. I'm going to get his little highlight. We get him over Texas. We get him over Notre Dame, Boomer Sooner. Those are the finalists. So those are quality teams. But what do you like the most about this kid?
I like something that we won't see on this particular set of tape, but I like the fact that he's got a wrestling background. That this is, I always think wrestlers are just like the toughest kids in the school. Always, when I went to school, the wrestlers were definitely the toughest kids in my school. As tough as football players were, man, wrestling is just a brutal freaking sport. And I like guys that are wrestlers that have a wrestling background. I like guys that when they hit guys that they go down, especially at the linebacker position. And Peyton checks all those boxes. So this was a big one. This was one that we wanted to get. This was one that we needed to get. And James just kind of took this one on his back. I mean, you got to remember, we have 10 coaches, but 6 of them are on the offensive side, 4 of them are defense. So it's like we've always had kind of a misshapen staff that's heavily weighted towards the offense. So having James as a GA just kind of starts to balance it out a little bit. And as you mentioned, bring a little bit of that heartline type of swagger, NFL pedigree, NFL experience, and as you said, his college football Hall of Fame, 3-time captain. I mean, what more can you say about James Laurinaitis? So very excited and very excited about this get. This was one we needed, and we got it.
Yeah, and I love watching his tape. Again, he kind of does everything in high school. He's a wildcat quarterback, carries the ball, just does everything. He's a guy that plays big time ball in Texas, and you see the athleticism, you see the explosion. I think he's got a big upside. Again, I know that James is the guy that was the linchpin in getting this thing done. So again, he's already paying dividends. I think that when you get a guy. Because I lived it for 3 years. When I was a grad assistant at Ohio State as an O-line GA, I didn't have as much responsibility as James did, and it was a little bit different because I went from Trussell to Fickle to Urban. So I didn't have as smooth of a transition as much. The program wasn't on rails the way it is with Ryan Day. Ryan Day took over, a Bugatti from Urban Meyer with Mark Pantoni, Mickey Marotti. The infrastructure it was able to kind of take it off into the stratosphere just because of what Urban did, and that includes Urban demanding that we got more stuff, we got more money, better facilities, all the upgrades, higher paid staff. Again, there was just certain things that I love Jim Tressel to death, but he just wasn't gonna hold the feet of the administration, hold their feet to the fire when it came to upping the ante and investing in a recruiting department and investing in nutrition and investing in all of kind of the bells and whistles that they have at the Woody Hayes. And they might seem like small things, but man, they all add up in a big way. Like when you've got a massive recruiting department that went from Greg Gillum with, one VHS machine to Mark Pantoni with 20 guys working underneath of him, that's a huge advantage. That's a huge change. And then you get the recruiting budgets, and even still, our recruiting budget's an absolute joke compared to what the powers like Georgia and some of the bigger schools pay them. They're paying 4 or 5 times what we pay for the year on recruiting, but that's something that needs to be, I think, addressed in my opinion. But with James, it's a relationship business. I think that if you're a young, energetic guy, you understand social media, you understand kind of the relentless approach. It's kind of like being a great sales guy. If you're a great sales guy, you're unrelenting. You have persistence. You get in with kids. You figure out what makes them tick. You figure out, what makes the family tick. There's a million different things that you look at, and I mean, once you kind of check all the boxes and you really break the walls down, then you can really build a relationship and get kids to leave Texas and not be a Texas Longhorn and come be a Buckeye. Which when that kid was growing up, he probably had no ambition of being an Ohio State Buckeye. And here he is because he trusts James Laurinaitis. So kudos to James. Again, Heartline's become really good at that. I think that it's kind of a cheat code if you've played somewhere like James has and Brian has, because you're literally talking about something you've lived. You've talked about something that you really truly believe in, and it's not just some kind of bullcrap pitch that a lot of these guys are kind of forced to do. Because Ryan Day grew up in New Hampshire, so he can discuss Ohio State, but it's not the same as like playing here, being a captain, being a All-American, kind of the life you've lived since then. They're like really truly living Buckeye Nation from the ground floor, like the former players did. And again, I think that's something that James can use as an advantage, because it's a testimony. It's not just some pie in the sky theory like that other coaches have to do. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, because Nick Saban didn't go to Alabama, but he's as good a recruiter as ever lived. And but I think that it helps the guys that actually have been players there. And again, I can't wait to see James develop. I think he eventually succeeds Jim Knowles as a D coordinator, in a few years. But and again, I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse, but I really just think that that's his trajectory. And I think that, when Ryan Day, whenever he's done here, it's going to be Luke Fickell, Vrabel, Hartline, Laurinaitis. You're going to have a slew of really good candidates to potentially take the torch from Ryan. Should he move on to the NFL at some point? Should he, eventually want to do something else? We've got some really good guys in waiting, which I'm really excited about, because I think that it's always a good thing when you have some really legit candidates waiting in the wings, and they're all guys that they grew up under the Trussell tree, and now they're doing really good things. Nevada, what do you project out of the spring game? Do you see some more equal signs coming in the near future?
No, I do, and I was just glad that Cliff Kingsbury took that quarterback job for Lincoln Riley, so that we didn't lose Ryan Day to be the quarterback coach at USC or something like that. Because that could have happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could happen. You got Marvin Harrison moving on after the spring game for USC, and then we lose Ryan Day to become the quarterback coach there. That would have been body blow. But like you said, we've got some good guys on the bench. We could survive something like that. But no, I think we've got more. I shouldn't say I think. I know we have some more equal signs coming down the pike. If you remembered our last podcast, for those loyal listeners, I actually posted this Peyton Pierce equal sign during the podcast, which is the first time it's ever been done. Did it on the phone while we were podcasting. So I'm telling you, we're getting dialed in right now on this stuff. The recruiting's starting to break, and the kids have been kind of staggering out the announcements. But now that there's one more down, buckle up for the next one, because it's coming, and there's probably going to be a couple of them in short order. Boom, boom. So maybe even boom, boom, boom. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we might as well go a little pie in the sky here since we're here. Because I got a guy, who I'm telling you, I get a lot of questions about this next guy I'm about to put up. But again, this will be a tough pull for James, but with James, all things are possible. So I hope our one listener that asks me about this guy every single show is in here. But this is a guy, a lot of people think Clemson, Georgia, but I'm telling you, man, James is making some inroads right now. And again, is it a reach? Sure. But we've got James Laurinaitis now. Things are different now. And I think that, as they study this kid and they see kind of how he evolves. So here he is, maybe the best linebacker in the entire country. Here he is playing running back, looking like, it's funny, he kind of runs like he's Tim Tebow, but he's going to the crib here. But this kid is an absolute monster, like a Katzman Moyer type linebacker out of Georgia. Sammy Brown. Wow. I watched this film earlier and I was like, God, I can't wait to show this to the people on Buckeye Scoop. And again, this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough pool. But man, with James, I think anything's possible. The way Hartline goes out and get J.J. Smith and goes out and get Mylan Graham and, some of the guys he's pulling, it's, we're a national team, a national brand, and we have coaches with big ambitions as recruiters. We're not just taking the Ohio kids. We're taking some of these big time guys, and, and that's not a slight on the Ohio kids, but, you go take a crack at some of these, Sammy Brown, some of these big time out of state dudes. Wow. Nevada, your thoughts real quick. We're watching this tape again. I think that this is going to be a tough pull out of the Georgia, with Clemson and Georgia down there. Those seem to be the leaders. But, Ohio State's got some momentum. This kid has some really positive things to say about James Laurinaitis a couple days ago. Really loves the direction of the linebacker room under James Laurinaitis' leadership. But Sammy Brown, what do you think? We're watching the tape. Of course, we go right to the 99-yard run. Good God, watch that. Look how big he is and look how fast he is. Your thoughts on this kid?
Well, again, Kirk Barton starting Georgia Dog Scoop here with the recruits. Every night for you fans, we're going to recruit. We're going to review a recruit that's going to Georgia, and we're going to talk about them and stuff like that. And so this is probably another one. He does run like Tebow. He's kind of got that high shoulders, kind of turning side to side, but he's moving awful quick when he's doing it. This would be great. If James gets this one, then I'm not quite sure what I would say, but it would be it would be pretty remarkable if you could pull that off. Now, you never say never, but I mean, after Davison and we had actually had break down his dinner.
Oh
Then
yeah.
that's when we were scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think this would be we'd have to really bring out like some sort of a high definition video that was a combination of the JT Tumalolo meeting at the airport with the Hawaiian shirts and the steak
God.
and lobster dinner type of thing, because this would be a mighty long putt for sure.
Yeah, the day that I covered the JT2 Maloau live stream at the airport was one of the funniest days of all time because I had no ambition of doing that, but I also knew that, we had some guys that really didn't feel like working, that were supposed to be doing that. So I went and did it instead to show them that it could be done. And it really, it turned out to be great content. We had hundreds of people watching it. There were people texting me from inside the Woody Hayes that were watching the live stream of the guys showing up. And, it's just such a weird thing because JT had his official visit in like the middle of the week. And no, that never happens. So the whole coaching staff shows up in Hawaiian shirts, except for like one guy. And they all put, they have the roses and, or whatever, the little flower things. And I mean, it was tremendous theater for what we were doing at the time. And again, was it kind of tacky and corny and stuff? Yeah, but it worked. You got the kid committed. So, if we could pull JT2 below out, I mean, anything is possible. I mean, we could get this kid. We pulled a kid from Washington. We beat the Oregon NIL mob and SC and Bama and every other like great school that wanted that kid. So, like again, I think that with James Laurinaitis, it changes the game a little bit. It's kind of like when really stupid people talk about how, well, we haven't pulled the top 3 offensive linemen from Ohio, and I'm like, well, yeah, because we pull guys from Texas now. We pull Donnie Jackson from Texas, who's one of the best offensive linemen in the country. We pull Luke Whippler from Jersey, 3 and out center, which that never happens. We pull Nick Petit Frere from Tampa. So, again, I love the state of Ohio. I respect the state of Ohio. I love the football players in the state of Ohio, but we got to go get the best players from wherever they're at. That's what I fully believe in. Nobody chastises Brian Hartline because I don't know if he's ever going to take a receiver from Ohio again at this rate, because he's taken the best players in the country. And that's what Greg Studwire did on the O-line, and that's what James Laurinaitis is doing at linebacker. So again, I don't fault guys for expanding their horizons and going and getting the truly best players, because I think that's what it takes. I think that, nobody is upset that, oh man, we get that Nick Petit Frere guy who, went 4 and out and he started every game for the Titans, and Luke Whippler will probably be a 2nd-round pick. DeJuan Jones is a kid from Indiana, probably be a 2nd-round pick. So again, but yeah, this kid's film is really fun to watch. Again, sometimes I just like to watch these and break them down a little bit. Again, this is they're running some of that 3-down look, some of that they call that mint. That's what all the fancy people at Georgia call that defense, mint. So the mint defense. But like I said, I don't know. I like everything this kid does. I mean, it's fun seeing him drop into coverage, and he just looks enormous. Like I said, he's got to be the best linebacker in the country for my money. But again, it's always fun. Again, to kind of shoot for the stars with some of these big time guys, because this guy is an absolute hoss. So I'm gonna have to ask James about this one tonight, because I think that this is a guy that we really, I don't know what the NIL Brinks truck's going to look like, but I mean, this is one that you'd back it up for, because I think this guy plays early and often if he becomes a Buckeye. Nevada got the spring game this weekend. I know it's gotten worse and worse every year in terms of the quality of the content, because we don't tackle at all anymore, and everybody's scared of everything. How much stock do you put in the spring game under Ryan Day going forward?
Well, spring practice is very important. The spring game, less so, as you said. We had talked briefly about what I consider to be one of the great idea innovations of all time, along with the forward pass and the chocolate chip cookie bucket at Angel Stadium. Would be like having spring games be like scrimmage games against other schools. I think if you did that, I think the spring game could be way more interesting. You could play your offense, you could play your defense, you could do your thing. You could have a little bit of a competitive setup right there. And, like, as you mentioned, you could play MAC schools, you could play, heck, you could play Indiana, or you could play Syracuse, or you could play whatever it would be. Because you can't wrap the players in bubble wrap. Sure, somebody's going to get hurt, but that happens. I think that's something that could save the spring game. But for now, let's just get through it without any major injuries. And like I said, the spring game we won't learn so much about, but we've learned an awful lot about this Buckeye team through spring football, and it's all been positive.
So in terms of football innovations, where does the carved sandwich rank at Ohio Stadium in terms of all-time football innovations?
Well, just good because the concessions at Ohio Stadium suck so bad, and like they just been so bad that the carved sandwich really kind of elevated the game. And
Oh man.
if you can do that, you can really a carved sandwich and like and bottomless pots of cocoa. Man, I'm set. I'll never leave the stadium after that.
Oh man, it is. It really is. It's tough sledding, man. The stadium is the game. The football played in the stadium is an A, and the experience is about an F. Just being real, but I wish that we could get a little bit more enhancements on the in-game experience. But I'll be there. Good.
No, Kurt, I went to the Angels game the other night, and it was like, Angels helmet nachos, ice cream, cookie sandwiches, carved sandwiches. I mean, roasted corn on the cob, sushi bar. I mean, you had everything there. And then you go to an Ohio State game, and it's like, a hot dog. And you're lucky if you get like the brown mustard or something like that. But it's like, I mean, come on, guys. We can do better than this. We've been beaten down for too long. We've got to rally. Our football team's great. Our university is great, but our concessions at the stadium just are not great, and we need to be better than this.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the football product is so good on the field that they just really don't care about anything off the field. So they try to keep it. They keep the food at about as bad of a level as you can. They charge insane prices, and you're kind of the way it is. You're kind of stuck with it. So because if you don't want it. It's the Ohio State mantra. If you don't want it, there's a million other people that want your tickets. So, you can move on. They won't miss you, I promise. But that's just kind of, I don't know. I wish, like, when you've gone to really nice stadiums, like even the Blue Jackets have a really nice, like the food's good, the atmosphere is good. The team's literally the worst in the NHL, and they still sell games out, which is amazing. Just because it's something fun to do. But it's whatever. Mike Howard, great question on the turf. The turf's terrible right now. They got to get it replaced. I mean, again, Mitchell Melton tore his ACL in the spring game. You see guys slipping on it. I don't know if it's because we do all these concerts now or we do all these other events now because they're trying to make as much money on the stadium as possible just because, we need it. But our turf is just awful. And you see these guys, and I played on the turf. The first year they put the turf in was in 2007, and they've probably replaced it 2 or 3 times. But, I've never seen guys slip as much as they do now on this turf, and I've never seen as many injuries as I have on this turf. So I wish they could go back to grass. The way that the stadium was dug out, of course, to make more money for the university and put in AA deck, doesn't get enough sun with the stadium being sunken in, so the grass would never take. And in 2006 when we played on that grass, it was like playing on hay. It was absolutely terrible. So that's why they don't have grass in the stadium. I love grass. I think that if you've ever played football before, grass just feels, if you have good grass, it's the best. I played for the 49ers. They had fantastic grass at their practice stadium or their practice fields. So your body feels better. You don't get beat up. Your knees don't hurt. Because practicing on turf for a whole season, man, is just devastating on your knees and your joints. I could feel it when I came off the field in practice. Even as a coach, it's hard on your knees. So I don't know. I think that I wish we could get back to grass, but I don't think that's ever going to change. What question do you guys have? I got to flick on another film. We got a couple more guys that we were going to break down yesterday. We didn't do a show yesterday, so we're going to break them down tonight. I got a big tight end out of Glenville. We're going to break him down. Damarion Whitten, Nevada. This is a big old joker, 6'4", 215. I would be absolutely stunned if he wasn't a Buckeye. I think that he's a guy that could commit this weekend. He's a guy, 3-star now. He'll be a 4-star when he commits to Ohio State. We'll turn his tape on. Nevada, do you think Glenville is back?
Well, no question. Look, first state championship and with all those great players and all those great teams, they're definitely back. And Glenville being back, is really good for Ohio State, because we don't need Glenville to be good, but it's always better when they are good, because when we talk about pipeline schools, Glenville really is the ultimate pipeline to Ohio State. And I really I'd seen this about 2 or 3 years ago. They were talking about how the athletes they were bringing in was just a different quality of kids. They were getting them in there, and you're already seeing the dividends on the field, and I think you're going to start seeing the through product coming to Ohio State in a big way and making a big impact.
Yeah, I totally agree. Big old joker here, man. We're getting these really good tight ends. I don't think that he's on the level of Jelani Thurman, but I think he's a good player. Again, I think that, when you can take a couple of good Glenville kids, because obviously, Bryce West is a 5-star superstar corner. Might throw his film on next. But this kid's got a lot of talent. Like, he likes to go get it. I mean, he's a deep threat. I think he'll fill out, probably end up being 6'4", 245-ish. He's got to learn how to block. He plays a lot of receiver at Glenville. He's kind of a giant jumbo receiver, but he'll be a tight end at Ohio State, working with Keenan Bailey. So I like it. Like I said, they split him out. When you split these big guys out down in the short red zone, the 5-yard line, he's getting a fade, and he's probably going to dunk on the corner. It's probably terrifying if you're a corner and you've got a guy who's this big and this athletic split out. But it seems to be their bread and butter down here, and you can't blame them, because I think if you've got an athlete who's this big, a guy who can track the ball, a guy who can catch a fade, it really isn't fair. So you see there's consecutive touchdowns on the exact same throw. And that's something that I think that we need to be better about in the red zone. I think that our red zone offense, especially in the bigger games, was poor this year. I think that Marvin Harrison, I don't think had a target in the Michigan game or the Georgia game, or I know they had on the Georgia game. The Michigan game, I don't think he had a single target in the red zone, which is crazy, because I think we ran about 20 snaps down there. But when you get these big bodies down there, man, I think that these guys can really wreak havoc on corners. Because this is the whole reason you take a big body wide receiver instead of just taking all these speedy guys in the era of the new wave of defensive holding and defensive pass interference, and how easy it is to get that call. Like, the only reason you take big guys is so that you can be physical and go get the ball in the short areas, because the little guys are so overpowered right now, just because if you touch them or you grab them, then it's a 5-yard automatic first down penalty for defensive holding, and they call that like crazy now. So but yeah, I like this kid. Again, I think that the more kids you can get in the fold that are kind of the cinch guys, the Ohio kids, some of these national kids that are kind of cinch guys, the more momentum you can get, going forward. Like, you get kids like J.J. Smith leading the class. You get this kid, you get Bryce. Like our class is filling up in a hurry, man. So it'll be interesting to see how many spots open up with transfers, because I know that we'll probably lose 8 to 10 kids in the portal, I'd imagine, just because it's kind of the natural progression post-spring. Guys don't like where they're at on the depth chart, and they take off, which is fine. And we might gain a couple guys too, but it'll be interesting to see how big this class ends up being. Does it end up being a 25-man class, a 30-man class, 28-man class? You just kind of never know. And you also gotta save a couple spots for the portal kids that you'll get after next season, like around next January, the time we got Davison Igbinosin. Those are the kind of guys you guys save a couple spots for. But what do you like about his tape so far, Nevada?
Well, just again, such a fluid athlete. The first time I'd heard about him, they were talking about how he could play on either side of the ball. They weren't even sure what position he'd really end up at, because he's a big hoss. Could he creates all sorts of matchup nightmares. When they spread him out. So is he a big wide receiver? Is he one of those versatile tight ends? Could play defense. Really could play anywhere on the field for Ohio State. And you just like getting those big athletes, that big speed guys. And he certainly fits that category. Could a little bit of do it all. So a lot to like about him.
See, I love when they put this. I honestly, I know that they never do this because it's a skill guy. But I wish that they'd put this, here again, he's playing receiver. He'll be a tight end at Ohio State, so he'll be a lot more, in here in line. But like here, like I love when you see a guy stock block and just go murder a corner. Like just murder him. Take him off the screen, put him on his back. Like again, because that kid obviously that he's going against is small And, when you play football, Giants roll. Like it's good to be the big guy. It's good to be the big bully. So I love clips like that where he actually shows interest as a blocker, because a lot of these big guys are not into it. A lot of the skill guys aren't into it, but that's something that, you're gonna have to see more of as he progresses in his game, that he is a willing blocker, because, he's, like I said, he's played all receiver and he hasn't played any inline tight end. And you go inline tight end, man, you got to go block JT2 and Bilal on the running game. And that's a chore, so that's going to be something he's going to have to get used to. And, he's going to get to that. He's going to have to get in that weight room, man, and start eating big to get up to about 250 so he can hang in there versus those bigger DNs. But yeah, I really like his tape. I think he's a good player. He's a good take. And again, I like taking Glenville kids. I love Ted Ginn Sr. I love Ted Ginn Jr. Really good dudes, man. I'm telling you, like Ted Sr. and Ted Jr., two of my favorites. And I think this will be our last one of the night. This is one of my favorite ones ever. I talked to his dad the other night. Super, super, super excited about this kid. Let me get this down a little bit. We got Trey McNutt. McNutt for Heisman. You remember Richard McNutt, everybody? This is his kid. Class of 25. Super, super athletic dude. Really excited about him. Again, he's going to end up being a 5-star, I think. Really a fluid athlete. Got offered by Ryan Day. But I'm just super excited about this kid. His dad's awesome. His dad's so excited. It was really neat talking to Richard. He's actually down on Eddie George's staff at Tennessee State right now. He's a DB's coach, but he's coached at Northern Illinois, NC State, and now he's with Eddie at Tennessee State. So he's on that kind of that vagabond coaching journey right now, but he's an awesome dude. Love him to death. And his son is a beast. So we're going to get his film on real quick. Nevada, do you remember McNutt for Heisman?
Well, of course. I mean, that was, again, I'm old enough to remember when players played, and then now I'm seeing their kids play. Now we're going to see their kids play or something like that. So it does make me feel old to see Richard McNutt's son playing on there, because it seems like yesterday he was playing. It seemed like just yesterday we had somebody on our board that was McNutt for Heisman, and I think they changed it to Martin, either Marv for Heisman or somebody else like that. So yeah, time goes really, really fast. Like I said in the board today, I remember when you were the young guy. You were like the young guy on staff. And now you're like an old guy. You're napping during the day. You're nodding off during podcasts and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, you're getting old. Your son's gonna be little Kirk is gonna be roaming. We're gonna be watching 5-star little Kirk playing highlights here pretty soon too. And you're gonna be old before you know it, my friend.
Oh, I know. I can't wait, man, because all you NIL collectors, bro, get your mind right. So I'm coming for it. I'm just teasing, but it's crazy, man. Yeah, like I said, McNutt he's a good dude, man. I'm trying to dig for where I put this film. So I know I uploaded it. It was a pretty good sized film. Where'd you go? But you know what? Let me see if I just got it in the. All right, we'll just play it through here right now. 1 second. All right, let's get this rolling real quick for you guys. I do not have the telestrator on this one, but we'll watch it through here. Boom, boom. So yeah, he's like I said, he's a fluid dude, man. I mean, he catches it. He could have gotten killed on that screen, but when he gets the ball, man, it's like he's in fast forward and everybody else is just kind of on regular speed. He pulls away from guys. He's an explosive guy. It's like he's got dynamite in his shoes. I mean, I imagine he ends up being a safety or a corner. I hope he ends up at corner, just because I always think that guys who have instincts and good feet should play corner. I think it's the quickest ticket to the NFL. But yeah, like I said, I love this kid. If I had him in high school, I'd play him at safety. I think playing your best guy at corner is almost a waste sometimes, because he could go an entire game and never see a ball. But yeah, I love this kid. Like I said, here he is. He plays both ways, which is the quickest way to my heart, is when you're a high school player and you play both ways. Because I think that every good high school player should play both ways. I think it's ridiculous if you don't. So you see this guy playing receiver. You see him playing free safety. Here he's playing down at corner. Comes up in run support. So, and again, this is his sophomore year film. So he's going to be a junior this year, and he'll probably be the top junior in the state of Ohio, or one of the top juniors in the state of Ohio. And obviously be shocked if he's not an Ohio State Buckeye, given what his dad accomplished. Obviously his dad had some injuries that kind of ended his career prematurely, but super excited about this kid. Like I said, his dad is one of my all-time favorite guys to be around. One of the nicest guys, one of the coolest guys, one of the funniest guys. So again, it's always fun to root for. When guys like that have their kids get offered by Ohio State, they kind of get to live out their dream, and it's just cool. Like I said, I'm excited for him. Like I said, I talked to him the other night, and it's just exciting stuff, man. So, but yeah, what do you notice so far through a few clips, Nevada? Because I just think he's got dynamite in his shoes, man. He gets the ball and he just goes away from everybody. But what are your thoughts on it so far?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, it's Shaker Heights football, so it's not like the biggest of big time, but he definitely has separation speed, and definitely when he gets it, he's gone. And to think that he's just a sophomore watching this, it's scary to think about how good he can possibly be, because he's a dominant player already out there. I like those guys that have those long strides where they start gathering up yards with every. It seems like it doesn't take him long to get from one end of the field to the other. That's for sure. So no, big timer, as you said, plays on both sides of the ball with equal effectiveness, and that's the hallmark of a great player. Ohio State's going to get a good one.
Yeah, I'm super excited about him. Again, like it's when you get some of these kids that are legacies and they're Ohio kids, pretty much essential, I'd say. I think that it'd be great if his dad can come back and coach here. I know that we're kind of Tim Walton's kind of on fire right now on recruiting, so is Perry Eliano. So it's going to be interesting to see year two of the DBs. I think that in Jim Knowles' system, I think that our DBs are going to take a step this year. I think they're playing more confidence. I think Adam Davison is obviously huge. And I think that it's he always says it's a safety-driven defense, but I think it's a defensive back-driven defense, because you got to have some corners that can go get their hands on the ball and catch the ball. So it's going to be interesting.
Kirk, I just had a great idea. Mark Pantoni, I know you're listening. I know you're watching this right now. So listen to me really carefully. When this kid comes on his visit, you know what you do? Here's how you market it. You say, McNutt for Heisman. What do you think? Winning idea?
Have a T-shirt for it, man. We're going to revive. Yes. His dad probably already owns the URL, I bet.
This is what I'm saying. Just go McNutt for Heisman. It's like, it's just elegantly, it's perfect. So Pantoni, get on that. Listen to me, Mark. Come on. That's
I know. 'Cause Mark watches every one of our episodes. He's our biggest fan. He's on our site more than I think anyone other than me and you, Nevada. So we log his time and they're like, oh, he's on again. So we wanted to make him a paid member of the site, thanks to all of his fine patronage on Buckeye Scoop. But yeah, I think that it was interesting when all that happened. I think it was a fraternity or something started that just kind of as a joke, and they asked Truss about it. They did newspaper articles about it. It was kind of hilarious this was almost like pre-message board days. This is like 2001-ish. Truss's first year, and because Nutt wasn't around. I think he got hurt for the 02 year. Might have gotten a ring. I can't remember, but again, I loved Nutt. He was one of the.
But didn't they ask Tressel about it, and he didn't have like a great answer? Like Tressel did not have like, in that particular moment, and he's usually one of the sharpest guys, and he's got a rapier wit. It is you're very biting. You knows everything. And I think he missed this one. I think they were mentioning like McNutt for Heisman, and I remember his answer being kind of like he didn't know what the heck was going on, and I'm like, come on, how's that happen?
I think I don't know. I think that he was surprised by it, but
yeah, his answer was bad. I'm telling you, his answer was not the usual A+.
No, I totally agree. I think that he didn't realize it was something that Trey didn't come up with. It was something that one of the fraternities or somebody came up with. So I think with Nutt, like I said, his kid getting offered, you see the explosion on the film, super excited about him. So I think we're going to wrap this. You guys got any questions? We can take a couple questions here as we wrap this thing up. Again, I'm just excited. We got a lot of momentum. We're going to have a big spring game weekend, a lot of coverage for you guys, kind of some of these breaking events. Hang on, Nevada's coming back in. we got you back. I think Tress tapped your phone and turned you off for a minute in the middle of the
No,
show.
literally, that was a spam call. I had a spam call, an
Yep.
833 area code calling me.
It was
come on, are you
Tress.
kidding me?
Tress, I
Are
know.
you freaking kidding me?
Tress has eyes everywhere, man. I'm telling you. Tress.
Man,
it's either
that
Tress
was
or it could have been Pantone. Might have been Mark Pantone.
Pantone
833.
for Heisman.
Pantone for Heisman. I know. That's gonna be the new screen name. The guy's gonna change his name to Pantone for Heisman. So
No kidding.
But yeah, okay, so this is a good question. Is Court Williams portal bound after spring? I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what his role is. Like, I mean, I think he's a nice kid, but he was a captain. He's one of the famous. I talked to a former All-American and captain today, and he was kind of griping and complaining about how we have these captains that don't play. And again, I don't say because I don't care. It's not that big a deal. But Court Williams is a really nice kid. But he's a captain last year. Him and Tyler Friday were two captains. Again, nice kids, but they didn't play at all last year. So if you're Court, or Tyler Friday, I think you want to go somewhere where you can actually play and maybe have some sort of shot to make it to the NFL, because it's cool to be a captain, but when you just stand there and watch the whole game, like, that doesn't really do much. So Court's a kid that everybody loves. He's a tough kid, but I don't think he's a fit for our defense or maybe even this level of play. And, hopefully he goes to Georgia or Bama and proves me wrong. But, it's not like our safeties were exactly dynamite last year. So, I think Court could easily be a portal guy. I think there's about 10 guys that could easily be portal guys. And we wouldn't miss them at all. But it's just, at some point, guys got to decide if they want to just hang out and be Bobby Buckeye and stand on the sideline and wear the jersey, or if they actually want to go play somewhere and try to make it to the NFL. So, in Block O jersey, I don't know if you give him the Block O. There's a lot of really good candidates for the Block O. I think Cade Stover's a great candidate. I think Tommy Eichenberg's a great candidate. I think it usually goes to a senior, a guy who's been around, a guy who's been through some stuff, who's been a good leader. Thayer had it. I don't know. Nevada, do you think Court Williams is portal bound? And also, who do you think gets the Block O jersey?
I would give the Block O jersey to Cade Stover. I think Court's portal bound. I don't think he will be, but like you said, I don't begrudge any of these kids. We've talked about this a million times, but Joe Burrow would be selling brake pads in Athens, Ohio right now if he hadn't transferred. So I don't begrudge anybody who wants to play football and go somewhere that they can play football. It's just that's why they went to college. That's why they're there. So I respect the heck out of kids that stay, but I understand it when they leave. I would expect in this era of portalness that we're going to start seeing mass attrition, on a scale that we've never seen before after the spring games. I think we just have to be ready for it as fans and just accept it as part of the fruit of life. And as for there was an internet rumor on another board about Ohio State's going to bring in 2 starting offensive tackles from other schools. It's just like, don't believe that stuff. Let's at least stay grounded in reality land. But we're probably going to lose some kids. I wouldn't expect there to be many kids coming in after spring ball, but I certainly think we'll lose some.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you'd think if a guy is serious and wants to transfer that he enters the portal the first time, like right after the bowl games, and then he can go through spring ball, learn the offense, go through summer conditioning. Like, I think, the round of guys that are going to come after spring ball are going to be guys that are kind of forced out of a spot. Like, we've got a couple of offensive linemen that don't take any reps right now that are 3rd and 4th year guys that I expect to move on after spring. I mean, I really do. I think that they're kind of basically being said, hey, there's not a place for you at the inn. It's been a good ride, but it's time for you guys to get on out of here and go find a new home. And I think that, the guys that are top drawer tackles, because you got to remember, like, we took Victor Cutler, really nice kid, but he's struggling as a second team center right now. So that was the guy we hit it. We took a swing at every single tackle that hit the portal. There were about 50 of them, and we got one kid and we had to move him to center. So to think that there's some Paris Johnson that's going to come waltzing in from from wherever to be our solution at left or right tackle, I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think that we got to roll with the guys we got. We got to get them ready to go. I think Donnie Jackson's got to play left tackle. I've said it 5 million times. I think that that's something that they're trying to not avoid, but at the end of the day, you have to have two good pass blocking tackles. If you have Donnie and Josh out there, I think you can get by with those guys playing tackle. And then you put Enoch, and it's easier to find a guard than it is to find a pass blocking tackle. So that's my opinion. I think that this spring they're trying Tigre, they're trying Zen. And again, those guys are young guys. They'll get better, but, they're trying to win a national title this year, man. So, the way that we throw the ball and the way that we run this chuck and duck offense, like, you better be able to pass block because they're not going to protect you. They're not going to run the ball. They're not going to, try to make your life easy. They're going to go out and empty, and they're going to chuck it. And, again, like, this is where Brian Hartline really better start understanding pass protections, because I know he knows the route combinations. I know he knows how to recruit. I know he knows how to, do whatever, but, like, you better know your pass protections. You better know how to help these guys. You better know how to, switch some of the stuff up, because it's not all created equal. And there's ways that you can mask some stuff to make your pass protection look better than it really is. So especially against real teams, like when we play Youngstown State and Indiana and Jacksonville State and Antarctica and some of these schools that we play, that doesn't matter. But when you go up to Wisconsin and play Luke at Camp Randall, Luke will throw the effing kitchen sink at us. And I'm telling you, got to be ready to go. Michigan will have something for us. If we play Georgia or Bama, they'll have something for us. So, again, I don't think that we're going to get 2 tackles out of the portal and they're going to get $700,000 or whatever. Someone texted me that, and I was like, there's just no way. I talked to the head of one of the collectives today, and they laughed at that. They thought that was idiotic, but what do they know? They're only the ones that are raising the money and doing the deals. So, but I digress. What other question?
NIL gender reveal.
Oh my God, you're killing me, dude. Is it reasonable to expect that Hart's offense will maintain dominance and lead the nation in scoring? Nevada, I'll let you take this one.
I mean, will they lead the nation in scoring? It's so hard to do that when you get some teams that can really light it up. Will we be top 5 in scoring? Fully expect that. No reason we shouldn't be. We've talked about returning 97% of your rushing and 99% of your receiving. It's going to be a prolific offense, top 5 offense. Scoring will not be a problem. It's just, the question is going to be, can we get the occasional stop? And I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, Bill Belichick has a great line when it comes to stuff like that. Stats are for losers. And again, I totally agree with that, because I would trade being number 1 or 2 or whatever in scoring offense for playing our backups a little bit more so they could actually get some game experience instead of playing them for the last 90 seconds of a blowout game so that they take knees. Again, I think that, Ryan Day knows what he's doing. He does a good job, but, we got to get these starters out, and you got to get some of these backups in to start developing some depth, because this year we got a lot of guys that got to play that haven't really played much because we don't let them play. We got to score 2 more garbage touchdowns so that, CJ Stroud's stats look prettier so that he can go to the Heisman. And, none of that really means anything. And he hasn't won the Heisman. We haven't won a national title. We haven't won the Big Ten. We haven't beaten Michigan, but we've scored a lot of points. So, in my opinion, I think it'd be better if we'd pull the starters and play some of these guys, especially young linemen. They need to get out there and play, instead of just standing there and watching until there's 2 minutes left in the game and leaving these starters out there till they're about to die because they're playing 80 snaps and all the backups are playing 10 when you're up by 65 points. But that's just my opinion. I think that, Ryan could yank these guys earlier, protect them, keep them healthy, don't risk injury, and more importantly, like, get the young guys. Like, when I was a player back in, the olden days, I always wanted to get out of the game as fast as possible. I wanted to score. I wanted to be up by 28 to 35 points and get yanked out of the game and go get those young guys in the game. Let them earn their scholarship check for once. Let them go, get out there and play in front of their families. But more importantly, like, they got to go out there and get their butts kicked a little bit and see, oh wow, playing on Saturday is a lot harder than playing scout team during the week. So I don't know. I just think that that's something that he could get better at. But I know everybody loves these big gaudy stats, but those stats don't really mean anything when you end up, not developing some of your younger dudes. Appreciate you guys. Any other questions? Any idea on the timeline for the Weston Scott commit, the 2 5-star corners that happen to be from Ohio and Nevada. Any timeline on that? Are there any equal signs that could be going out?
Boom, 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 boom.
Could be this weekend, I think, honestly. This is a good one for Nevada. Do you think the Silver Bullets are about to be back?
I mean, I think so. But it's funny because think back when the Silver Bullets. You're too young to remember this, Kirk, because you were just a little wee sprout when this was going on there with Fred Pluggage and his defense. But Fred used to just blitz the heck out of things. He'd be bringing Rob Kelly, be bringing guys from all over the place, and and Ohio State fans love it when you blitz, but they hate it when something bad happens when you blitz. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So it's like, do I think these Silver Bullets are back? Yeah, I think so. But, I think this offense is going to be, or excuse me, this defense is going to be so good that we're going to be able to bring pressure without blitzing. And that, to me, is really the key to all defensive play. If you ask me one question about how good a defense is going to be, it's like, can they bring pressure with just bringing 4? And if you can do that, then you're going to be a terrific defense. If you have to bring that 5th guy, you have to bring that 6th guy to bring pressure. We've had Ohio State teams that have had to do that. Then it's more problematic. But I think this one will be able to get pressure with 4. And I think Jack and JT are poised to have breakout seasons, double-digit sack seasons. And I think it'll feel like we're blitzing from all over the place when really we're just playing a gimmicky 7-safety defense with 0 press monkey coverage or whatever the heck that we're calling it now.
Yeah, our vegan DC. He's gonna be calling up some vegan blitzes. This is a big one, Nevada. Do you think Ohio State beats Michigan up in the Big House this year?
Well, yeah. I'll be betting on that. Let's just put it that way. I always ask people, are you willing to put money on it? Because that's the thing. And I've lost money the last couple of years on Ohio State. I'll lose money on them again this year if they lose, because I will definitely be betting them to win the Big House. I just think we're better. I think you can only hide, just this vast the difference in recruiting. The valley between Ohio State and Michigan in recruiting right now. And I think Ohio State's going to get it righted, and I actually think we're going to score more than 3 points in the second half of this game too. So. Bet the over. The over-under's 3.5 total points in the second half. Bet go over for Ohio State on that. That's Nevada's tip for the day.
You can, if they set the second half over at 3, you'll take the over.
I'm going over, baby.
big money. Yeah, I think we get it done up there. I think that the defense sets the tone. Again, I know that like the scoreboard was ugly and it looked like we gave up 80 million yards on defense, but we were really selling out to stop the run. And in the first half, it worked beautifully. Second half, I don't know if we were too aggressive with the fact that, they blocked our front line and then they went 75 yards like twice. But it's kind of like when you pull the goalie, we were going for broke. You pull the goalie at the end of the game and you give up an extra goal. Like that's kind of what like the last touchdown was when we were really trying to like suicide blitz and get a stop. So, again, I'm not making excuses because it's unacceptable to get your head caved in, get your teeth kicked in by Michigan 2 years ago. And Ryan Day's done that. Like Jim Harbaugh, he had no momentum. Michigan had no momentum. We were the big bad wolf, and we whooped him for 20 years. And I was a big part of that because we turned that tide in we lost in 03, but then 04 we started that run a little bit up until 2011 Luke's year when we lost. But we ripped off some big wins versus some really good Michigan teams. It had Chad Henne was a 15-year NFL quarterback, so we didn't have any of these layups that we've had the last few years with J.J. McCarthy and some of these guys that stink playing quarterback. But the guys they got to go find their courage, man. They got to go see the wizard. They got to go get that heart. They got to go get that courage. They got to go get all of it because we've lost it over the last few years for whatever reason. A team that we've owned and dominated and we've just smacked down year over year, they're smacking us. So. That's on Ryan Day.
We don't need heart. We don't need courage. We need less 75-yard runs and more than 3 points in the second half. That's all we need.
You know what we need? We need more safeties on defense. That's what we need.
Gimmicky.
We need 19 safeties to start on defense.
Yeah, the gimmicky. They'll never expect it.
They'll never see it coming. All right, what else do we got? 50th anniversary of the tiebreaker. I like this. We got a little Jay Bags bringing the heat tonight. Appreciate this. So it's the 50th anniversary. Is that the year we tore the banner down that Hicksy did that? Wow, that'd be amazing if we did that, if we went up there and did it. I don't think you can do that anymore. I think that we come out, they run across the field first, and then we come out second. So the banner is already down by the time we get out. I think that they prevent that. Just because when we take the field, you come down that tunnel and Michigan runs out first. They run across the field and tap the banner. And then we come out to the short side of the field where, like literally, when we walk out of the tunnel, we're already like at our bench. So I don't know if you can physically pull the banner down anymore, but that would be great. I mean, I would be all for it. And it's funny because people always act like that's bad sportsmanship in the fights, but every time you watch ESPN or Fox or whoever's carrying the game, all they show is like the fight. They show the Marcus Hall fight, the Dontre Wilson fight, Bradley Roby getting in a fight, the guys yelling at each other in the tunnels and all that. So the cameras love that stuff. So if our guys rip the banner down, I mean, in the era of NIL, I would have ran out of the tunnel before everybody and ripped the banner down, because I know that I'd had $100,000 in deals waiting for me when I got back to Columbus, because there are so many big time, especially if we won, there are so many big time Ohio State fans that would just be like, I want that guy to endorse me because he doesn't care and he beat the Big Blue. So
but explain to me though, okay? Big Bad Barton, 05, 07 winner up there in Michigan. How come you never planted the flag out there on the thing? How come I
waved the flag. There's a photo of me waving, like literally there's a photo of me waving the flag that was in the lantern. Like in 05, I was waving that flag like crazy. It was great. Now I never thought
waving the flag. That's not very manly, Dylan. I'm sorry.
Why would you plant a flag in artificial turf? Like it literally, it can't be planted. You can't put it in the ground. It just bounces it off the ground. You're like, oh wow, that's cool. Way to go. I can't be like your boy Baker, who played for the LA Rams and is your boy. You're rooting wildly for Baker.
You could have done the thing like an Iwo Jima thing where you have 5 guys and you put the little flag up and you kind of push it up or something. Seriously, you guys did that thing. That would have been the greatest moment. Instead, you're like, I waved the flag in the locker room.
I did. I waved it. I smoked a cigar. It was fantastic. We're gonna make you a brand influencer for Miller Lite with that kind of effeminate wave of the flag out there after the 05 game. No, they don't. Well, they might want me. They probably want to. They probably want to go opposite Bud Light now and have an ultra masculine guy. So they can holler at your boy. All right. Well, great. I'm telling you guys, fantastic show as always. I'd love to rip the banner down. Any closing thoughts, Nevada? Again, appreciate you guys. You guys are killing it in the questions. I'm talking about the flag that Michigan planted on the turf at the shoe. Again, we were too stupid to defend it. Our guys just kind of ran off into the locker room. Again, they got to be a little bit more ferocious at home, I think. But that's my opinion. Any closing thoughts, Nevada, as we wrap this thing up?
No, we told everybody after the last podcast to buckle up day to day. We got some huge commits coming. Well, gonna tell you again, you got some more huge commits coming. So boom, boom, boom. Stay close to your phones, close to your Twitter, close to BuckeyeScoop.com, because I got some big stuff coming and coming soon.
Stay thirsty, my friends. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Oh, what a great show. Appreciate you guys so much kicking it with us. Again, it's a blast. Great questions as always. Thank you guys. Again, shout out where you're from in the comments. And I want to hear from you guys. Do you think we beat Michigan this year? I think we do. Again, I really do. I talked to a lot of these kids, especially in the senior leadership spots, that, they're angry. I mean, they've been humiliated. Again, they were angry last year too, but you don't want to go out with 3 straight losses to Michigan when you're some of these guys. And some of these guys that are 3 and out, like Paris and CJ, never got a pair of gold pants, which is crazy. I have 6 pairs of them. So, I couldn't imagine not having a single pair, but it is what it is. Again, if you guys love this content, man, BuckeyeScoop.com, it needs to be your new homepage. Again, our site has just been absolutely crazy. We have an update on who the new Big Ten commissioner is likely to be. We have a great source in the Big Ten office. It works under the name The Oracle. So Really good stuff. Again, we get some really high-end intel, and we can't reveal who he is because his stuff is really good. So we appreciate you guys as always. I'm going to jump on BuckeyeScoop.com for the rest of the night and work away and interact with our awesome members. Again, it's the most active Ohio State community there is. If you are a diehard Ohio State football supporter, Buckeye Scoop is the home for you, I promise. So appreciate you guys as always. If you enjoyed this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. And if you love these live shows, click the little bell and you'll get a little notification on your phone when we go live. So we love having you guys in here. It adds so much energy. There's energy to the show. So thank you guys. But again, if you listen on audio formats, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. It really helps people find the show. We're number one in the market right now, so it's all because of you guys. So thank you guys. So appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks. Gotta beat the blue, baby.